My wife's name was Nancy Lynch. We were married 41 years. Well, we were together 45. It took us a little while to decide to get married there.
Nancy was diagnosed in October of 2015 with ALS.
In the beginning, Debbie being her identical twin, and her husband Bob, my brother-in-law, and myself, we did all the care.
She was still able to walk, sometimes with a walker, and then after about a year and a half, it moved into a wheelchair situation. She had an incident that put her in the hospital, and when they sent us home after 4 days in the ICU, they sent us home with hospice. I guess we can't say enough good things about the care that she received and the overwhelming support for Michael, for myself, for his daughters. With hospice, like Hope and Denise, neither of them ever got it wrong. And they just I was amazed at how many details that they were able to keep together, and with all the people they were juggling and all the other patients that they took care of, I really always used to think, I know they had other patients, but I never felt like they did. I felt like she was our private nurse, and Denise was our private respiratory therapist, and Barbara was our counselor, and that was it. We just had these people at our beck and call because that's how it felt. And they loved my sister just like she loved them. One thing about Nancy that amazed the hospice people, the nurses, Denise, everybody that came to our house, Barbara, everybody, was how unbelievably kind she was. Nobody ever did anything for her, us, my husband, me, the girls, that she didn't say thank you. And Nancy, more than any of all, even as much as, or if not more than all of us, I think she realized how vital they were to her every day feeling of security and safety. She always used to say, I just want to feel safe, because as a person that can control nothing about their physical being, and never was alone, but she still felt, even if I would hold her, or Michael or Bob or the kids, anybody would hold her, she still always had that fear she was going to fall maybe. And so I know that same safety feeling was something she got from our nurses and from everybody at hospice, because that was her thing. Let me be secure. Let me feel safe and secure.
We knew Nancy's situation, but we wanted to try and keep things as normal as we could. I had a granddaughter, my wife and I had a granddaughter that was born. Well, they lived in Charleston, and obviously that's where the baby was born. With the consult from Hope and from Denise, my brother-in-law rented a van. We took the seats out of the van and put a lazy boy chair in there. We're able to take her up to Charleston for the birth of my granddaughter. She was actually in the birthing room, in her wheelchair, but in the birthing room. It meant a lot to us to be able to have Nancy there.
My sister was given a baby right after the birth, so she was able to hold her too. And although my sister's hands were impacted and she couldn't use them and didn't have any strength, we were able to place Olivia Grace in her arms. And she could kiss her, and she could, do a little cuddling with her too. So, even though, ALS takes a lot from you, it doesn't take your heart and soul, and she was able to still enjoy her granddaughter and saw her for the first 3 months of her life.
We had an instance, this was about 3 weeks before Nancy passed away, where my daughter Holly was here, and she went in and couldn't wake her up. At that point, Denise took me and Hope took me and said, I got to tell you that this is not a good sign, because this is meaning that the CO2 buildup is occurring. She said it probably would mean weeks rather than months.
She passed as peacefully as a person can, and that was the one thing that the doctors did tell us. When it was time for her to go, she would just fall asleep, and that's what happened. We took the BiPAP off because she wanted it at that point off, and she just fell asleep, and that was peaceful, and it only was a few hours.
Here again, hospice, first it's just Hope and Denise. They assessed what was coming on, and then they brought everybody else here.
With all of us in the room and holding her, that I guess watching God and the angels take her up to heaven, because that's what happened when she passed. She went to heaven, and we were all there, and it was peaceful like he promised it would be. They cried along with us. So we never felt that this was just a job or somebody's responsibility. It was from the heart. I missed them afterwards because they were part of my family for a long time, and I relied on them very much for so much.
They kept us calm and informed and kind of situated through the whole time.
I would say to anybody considering hospice, it was a godsend to us. It was the best that it could have been. We have nothing but wonderful things to say.
You know, listen, the situation, we didn't want it. We didn't expect it, but given that those were the cards we were dealt, I feel really, really lucky that we had hospice to help us there.
Go Purple Team. I love them.